Hey guys, John Wick here. I'm very excited today to finally bring and release to you the screener from Trading Alpha that we've all been waiting for, the one that I've talked about for a long time. It's finally live and ready to go. Now, in this video, I'm going to break it down into two parts. First, I'm going to explain to you what the screener is and how it can be useful, basically saving you time on looking through hundreds and hundreds of charts. It basically finds all of our setups and more from screening all of the equity markets, all of the crypto markets, and all of the Forex markets. Once I've gone through basically explaining how the screener works, the second part of the video, I'm going to break down to the actual tools and indicators that we're screening for and kind of give you some more user-friendly tips on how to best utilize the screener and get the most out of it for our members. So with that said, let's get started. Okay, so here it is, guys. Here's the final version of the Trading Alpha screener. So getting started, I think it's best I explain what is a screener and how can it help you in your trading. Well, in trading, what are we doing? We're finding high probability setups, right? And we're trying to take advantage of those setups. Whether that is a head and shoulders, or if it's a squeeze breakout like we do, or anything, RSI divergences, whatever your taste is, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to find those setups and take advantage of them as many times as you can. The problem is that means that every single day you have to search through hundreds of charts, on different markets to try and find those setups, if you're even lucky enough to catch them in time. So what a screener does is it solves that problem for you. It's basically like a search engine for your setups. And depending on what setups are in the screener, it can search for those on a wide range of markets. Well, on my screener, it can. Most screeners, they're set to just one type of market. So let's run through some examples, and I'll also go through all the tools that are in the screener that you can search for. You can also search for combinations, which makes it extremely powerful. Like you can search for instance, a squeeze with bullish divergence, which probably means that it's got a higher probability of breaking out to the upside, right? Anyways, let me get started in showing you guys how this works. So the first thing you're going to want to do is pick your asset class. So again, unlike other screeners, we have stocks, we have cryptocurrencies, and we have Forex that you can search through. So let's start and say that we want to search through cryptocurrencies. The next thing is we want to pick our time frame. Are we going to trade on the 1 hour? Are we a 4-hour trader? Do we want to search the daily? Or do we want to see the macro kind of outlook and search on the weekly? Let's say we want to start off middle of the road and go with the 4-hour. Next, if we scroll down here, you can see all the different types of indicators and setups that it searches for. And the first one on the list is our famous breakout indicator. This searches for volatility breakouts. And if you click on it, you'll see that we have our squeezes, right? These are the orange shading areas on my charts that I always put up on Twitter. This shows that the asset is going through a consolidation and it's building up volatility, and it's just a matter of time before it has a breakout violently to either the upside or the downside. Now, when we move to the right here, we have our small green arrows and our small red arrows. This is potential breakouts out of the squeeze, okay, to catch it kind of early. And then the big arrows are our confirmed breakouts out of the squeeze, where it's actually broken out and it's still potentially a good trade that can lead to a trend, okay? So then if we collapse this and go to the next one, we have our breakout indicator on high sensitivity. So for those of you that have the high time frame indicator and the high time frame premium, you'll see that in settings you can switch to a higher sensitivity. What this will do is it'll make sure that you have even more squeezes and more breakouts to the upside and downside. So this is simply just searching for that high sensitivity setting for our regular breakouts. Let's collapse that and go to the next one. This is our RSI. Okay, on RSI we can search for bullish and bearish divergences. This is very popular in the crypto Twitter community. Okay, that's self-explanatory. I think a lot of people know about RSI at this point. Then we have our strength and weakness indicator. So on my charts, whenever you see the dark green arrows, because remember we have quite a few arrows that are green. We have the breakout arrows, the small ones and the large ones, and these are both going to be a lighter shade of green. Then the darker arrows you see that are not by a squeeze, they show strength and weakness, and this is what this searches for, strength and weakness. Once it's already in a trend, it can keep you in a trend, showing you that there's a lot of strength in it, right? And conversely, the same thing to the downside with weakness. Let's collapse that. This is our thrust indicator. So our thrust indicator and our RSI indicator, both of these can be found in our confirmation suite of indicators on tradingalpha.io. If you want to go straight to the indicators, it's .io/I. Anyways, this is the thrust indicator in the confirmation suite, and we have thrusts up and thrusts down. These will specifically look for the orange bars, which, if you're familiar with my other videos in the confirmation suite, that is the highest thrust that you can have. And what does that do? That can signal institutional buying or institutional selling. Or again, if you have alternating ones, a thrust down and then a thrust up, right after each other, that shows a changing power. Both things that I use very often, okay? So let's collapse this. Next, this is pretty exciting that I added in for you guys, okay? And I use this a lot in stocks, and it hasn't been used a lot in cryptocurrencies, and there's no reason why it shouldn't. I just don't think people have, gotten there yet. And it's pretty simple. What it is just making your weekly highs and weekly lows. So how would you use this? Well, let's say that the whole cryptocurrency market went through a bear market and everyone thinks that the bottom is in, but we're not too sure. But we want to start, positioning ourselves into good assets, good cryptocurrencies. Well, you would look for cryptocurrencies that are currently making a weekly high, right? In the last week, they're at their highest level. That means that they have relative strength. They're performing well out of this, bull market that could possibly be turning. So you would search for, a weekly high. Let's say you wanted to find a chart that simply had the price action starting here at the bottom left, and it kind of just went to the upper right. That's a strong chart, right? Well, then you would be looking for assets that are making a new 52-week high, because in the last 52 weeks they're at their highest level. So this is a very, very powerful indicator that a lot of professionals and traders use in the stock market, but now we can use it in all markets, and we can scan for them, and it'll just give us a list. Then we have our TD9 indicator. This is a counting indicator that is on my high time frame and my low time frame suites. Basically, you can think of it as an overbought or oversold indicator, right? It'll give you a bearish 8 and 9 signal when we've had 8 consecutive up days in a row, or 8 or 9 consecutive up days in a row, right? And normally that's a number that for some reason, right, it's just too overbought, and it has a good probability of coming down, and vice versa to the other side, right, on bearish ones. So now that we've gone over those, over here, TD9, 8 and 9, right, bullish and bearish. Now that we've gone over those, we get to the trend finder. We have not released this indicator yet, but basically you'll be able to search for green bars whenever they turn green to show that it's now gone into an uptrend, and conversely red bars whenever the uptrend has ended and we are not going into a downtrend. Okay, so now let's give it a run. Let's give it a go here. So we have cryptocurrencies, we have 4 hours. Let's say that we're just going to search for a regular squeeze. Now remember, this is showing that it's going through volatility squeeze, it's going through some consolidation, and it's about to break out to the upside or downside, and you kind of want to watch those stocks. Let's say that's what your game plan is. You go to search, and within seconds, it's going to give you a whole bunch of stocks that are currently or cryptocurrencies in this case, that are currently, making those signals. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and try one of those signals out. Let's go to, it said their Bitcoin Cash. So let's go to BCH, BTC. Okay, and guys, always look for the pairs on Binance. If they're not on Binance, it's not going to be a good signal, because that's where we pull our data from, okay? And as you can see, if we just focus on the upper pane here, this is our volatility squeeze. And again, when these happen, normally you have a breakout to the upside or to the downside very soon, and it'll be signaled with a potential breakout arrow, right? Which are the small green arrows, right? When it's potentially going to break out to the upside, and once it's already broken out of the squeeze, it'll give you the big green arrows. And the same thing to the downside, right? But these squeezes are very powerful as violent moves happen shortly after. So looking at this chart, you can see that, with the squeeze, we have a risk of it breaking to the downside and kind of finding support over here. Or if, it breaks to the upside, conversely, we'll have the opposite. So that's how you use the screener. Let's go back and let's make it a little bit more powerful. Let's look for a more higher probability setup. So let's stick with the cryptocurrencies. Let's stick with the 4-hour. Let's stick with the squeeze. But now let's also add in some bullish divergence. And we'll click search. Oh, and by the way, guys, this over here will tell you what you are currently searching for so that you don't forget. So this here will tell you that we're searching on the 4-hour, we're searching for cryptocurrencies, and we're currently searching for squeezes with bullish divergences. Okay, so let's go, and you can see there's a shorter list, right? Because it's cross-screening for both setups. So let's go ahead and look at this Litecoin Bitcoin pair. Let's pull that up. LTC, BTC. We're going to pull it up on Binance, and we're going to pull up our RSI indicator. Let's make it a little bigger. And as you can see here, okay, not only has it gone through a squeeze, but it's also exhibited a potential breakout to the upside, and it's got a bullish divergence right here. So one thing that we did to the indicator is we gave it 4 to 5 spaces look back period, right? And I thought this was important. So it'll catch it either on the day or up to 4 to 5 days, depending on what what setup you're screening for. So always remember that. But it also give you a good visual on how to learn. So you can see how this potential breakout has happened, right? So if you're searching for the green arrows, this is the setup that it should give you. But focusing on what we just searched for, we searched for an asset that had a squeeze happening with a potential violent move coming, and also had some bullish divergence. Now you can see this had bullish divergence over here while in the squeeze, and now we've started to break out to the upside, right? So this is why this was a higher probability squeeze. And the screener can now screen for setups that you can come up with like this and give you all the assets that are currently performing these combinations, which is super powerful. So let's look back. I mean, you can come up with a number of things. You can do a squeeze with strength and weakness. You can do a squeeze with thrust. The TD9s are also very, very powerful. So that's the screener, guys, and I hope to add many more things to the screener. I will also add the instructional to this YouTube video over here. And also know that if you want more instructions on this, you can go to our website, tradingalpha.io/I. And if you click on more info under screener, it will take you to a tutorial where we go through these steps, and you can view them step by step in text. So guys, I hope that you enjoy this. It's taken me a long time to get this screener right. I know I have kept postponing it over and over again. We could have released this months ago. My developers wanted to do it, but I wanted it perfect. So I'm really proud of this, and I hope it helps you guys out a lot. So with that said, this is John signing off, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.